and all wishes and expectation that what they're doing is going to benefit them. Abraham questioned his society and he asked for sensible answers. If you and I are living a life on a daily basis for so long in our life should be speaking to us, and we should be able to listen to it. And that should be the rationale to continue the life we live. If you ask a student who has graduated and who is pursuing a certain life, or you ask our parents, or you ask our relatives, our friends, or us society, which part of your life makes sense to you? Why is it you work every day? Why is it you're committed to your work? Why is it you save? There is one aspect of life that is real to everybody. They have made that real. And that is the physical life. Because we see the fruits of what we do. Nobody has to assume that if I work, I'm going to get paid. Or he doesn't have to assume that the money he gets, he's able to buy food. There's a reality about this. This should be the question that you and I ask ourselves. What we have been doing all our life, where is the reality check about it that would warrant us to continue in that direction? And the bottom line, you and I should always ask, what benefit has come to me because of this line of thinking and this line of action? That's the main thing. Ask somebody who reads the Qur'an in Arabic in any situation and who doesn't have a clue what he's reading. Where is the benefit for this? This Qur'an doesn't tell you that this is a good action in any way. Non-Qur'anic sources and people who don't follow Qur'anic principles tell others to do that. The Qur'an tells us in a very sensible way that human beings will get what they exert themselves for. So the factor of life is to work very hard. And what you work for, you will see. That life is meant to be lived in such a way that the individual can see the usefulness, the benefits, the enhancement of following a particular path. If you're walking down a road and you find the road has a lot of holes and a lot of puddles and lots of wild animals are coming out at you, or you have bandits, what are you going to do? Continue the road? You will change. You will go to the next road. And that is the bottom line that the dialogue with Abraham and his community is meant to teach you and me. It's meant to tell us to examine what we have been doing. Examine what we've been doing. What we have been doing, what is the sense in it? And let me emphasize that word, sense. Something that is missing with Muslims. Sense, intelligence, practicality. Sense, intelligence, and practicality. First of all, we learn that Allah is Alimun Hakim, right? that Allah is very, very underlined with knowledge. Allah is synonymous with immense knowledge. Knowledge that we cannot even evaluate. But the average Muslim, when he talks to Allah, he talks to Him in a language he doesn't understand. Does that make sense? But we don't worry about sense. We worry what we see others doing. Ask the average Muslim who goes to wherever for their prayers, and they hear their sheikhs and their imam reciting different parts of the Qur'an. They are not students of the Qur'an, but they feel they have done a good thing. It's all emotional. It's not sense. But we seem not to care where our emotional religion has taken us. We leave the book of sense behind. And we follow the emotions of our forefathers, of our community members, of our elders and of our leaders. And the Qur'an tells us in chapter 12, in the very beginning, تِلْكَ آيَاتُ الْكِتَابِ الْمُبِينِ. This book, this Qur'an, contains verses where things are made clear. Muslims read this 1,000,000 times in their life, but they plug their ears and they have the audacity to argue against it. God tells us this is a book where things are made clear. They don't confuse you. Unless you are corrupted in your mind, you get confused. You have other ideologies that you want to keep in the heart and soul and the mind. So when you read the Qur'an and study it, you can't see the light. إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. Whenever we read the Qur'an, we should read it with sense. We should look for sense. We should look for intelligence. We should look for what's reasoning and what's appealing to reason. There is nowhere in the Qur'an that says to us we should continue to do something for donkey years and don't care about the money we spend in the process and the time and the energy. Do you realize what this has done to the Muslim world and the Muslim society? Check out the Muslims in Canada who reflect the societies that they have come from, and then study the Muslims in their own societies back home. There is one thing that is generally not tolerated, and that is sense. Go and take the students who are in Islamic schools or in so-called Muslim universities. Whether it is Arabia, whether it is Pakistan, whether it is Bangladesh, whether it is South Africa, wherever it is, you know what is missing? Sense. The hypocrisy is when they study mathematics, they will study it with sense. When they study physics, they study it with sense. When they study botany and zoology and all the ologies, they study it with sense. But when they come to Qur'an, they put the sense under their foot bottoms. Because why? In the Islamic universities, like in the Islamic schools in Canada or elsewhere, sense is not the tool to examine issues, to read the books. You have to follow the culture, which is, you have to say this because the ulama have said this. You have to say this because the scholars have said this. And that is why we have our children with double personalities. They're holy Muslims inside holy environments, but they're materialistic beings when they come outside these places. Because this is the culture of the Muslim society. There's no shortage of masjids. There's no shortage of Islamic universities. But there's a shortage of sense and practicality. Life is teaching us a sense. If we had the ears to listen, we will hear it. Life is talking a sense to us. If we had the ears to listen, we